Good morning. It is Barbara, the East Coast Dragon Lady, coming to you on Saturday morning with my chat and weekly update. First of all, I want to say a big thank you to all of you. I am literally blown away, and I'm just going to get the final count here, that on YouTube this week, my video, I got 787 views in 6 days. Others have been like 78. Had 157. But as I've shared before, I've been sort of in the low 40s, something like that. So I am blown away. And it was a 30-minute video. And I talked about the cosmic dragon. I mean, I did my normal thing, but what I have to share with you, the reason I started with that, so I just want to say, I want to put out there into the world such a big thank you, because as you know, to get our voices heard isn't easy, especially when I am in a very sort of narrow, I'm not general spiritualism. I'm talking a lot about dragons and galactic dragons. And they have been working with me on actually getting my voice out there. And this week I actually took my SRT final exam, I guess you would say it is. I'm just waiting for the official thumbs up and the certificate, which of course means everything. Well, it does when you're working in this field of spirit release. And I am just this was on Wednesday evening, and what was really interesting for me, and some of you have been on the other end of my literal, I can't say it's verbal diarrhea, but after I did this has been a long time coming. I've been on many paths. They were all for a reason, but for a lot of things, they didn't come to fruition. I'm always in the background. So it seems. So this is what it seemed to me. Sort of people knew who I was. I was on Dragon Thunder. I was on a lot of things. I've done things that just sort of grind to a halt or don't seem to be very popular. And I got a beautiful channeling, which I'm not going to share with you, because I'm writing a chapter in the book, and this is from the Galactic Elder Dragon Council, and they want that to be the starting point of my chapter, talking about who I am and why I'm here at this important time, which I've talked about. I'm a Galactic Dragon Elder. I've worked with the council for a long time. They've recently stepped forward to move me in that direction, and they share beautifully, which I couldn't have written those words. I mean, it's just beautiful. And the more I read it, the more there's a couple of you I've shared it with, but in these days, what I've learned is if you share too much, somebody will jump on it. So that's the only reason I'm not sharing it. I share everything, but I'm keeping that because they've told me that is my jumping off point in the chapter in my book, which will be published in the fall. So it's not long to wait. I'm about to start writing it. So I had, this month was leading up to me stepping onto the right path. And on Wednesday, I literally felt it was almost like I'd been carrying the weight of the world, and I was so free. The only word I could say is like something had lifted off me. I slept the best I've slept in months. Like I slept from the minute my head hit the pillow, didn't wake up at all. I've shared before that I have back issues, so it isn't often that I sleep from the minute my head hits a pillow to the next morning. And I woke up feeling the same. And literally my energy still is so very, very high. It's almost intoxicating. So when I start talking, it just falls out. And I have to, and as I just shared with my friend Casca on a voice note, like I just keep going and going and going. And I did a voice note for somebody the other day, and it was too much. So it deleted it. So if I'm a little bit all over the place, you know why. I wanted to get on this morning because I do have a meetup with the SRT students. I want to get to that at midday. I also wanted to share, again, I am extremely directed by dragons these days. They say yes, no, go, because they're looking out for me, is what they're saying. They've also removed another filter from my vision, and because in the SRT work, I need to see certain things, and they're slowly, they're going, it's not too slow. They've removed some layers so that I could step into this work. But when we're working with lower energies, with attachments, with earthbounds, we need to see or feel, and for me it's seeing, because I do see. And like yesterday, my son was very aware that something wasn't right with him. He couldn't quite figure it. And then he said his dragons told him that he needed a chakra clearing. So I talked him through that, and his chakras were all out of balance, literally. They were literally not in a line. They're all over the place. He wasn't grounded. He had plates put on the bottom of his feet, and he had 2 implants in his knees, and he's been suffering terribly with pains in his knees, and he's not old. He's late 30s. Horrible pains in his knees that are bringing him to his knees, like almost falling over. And they were transponders, or what they told me. So again, he's fortunate that I can do this work with him. I get him to do as much as possible. So I wanted to start off by just walking through grounding, because as our vibration rises, we need to be even more aware of being grounded. When I talk about grounding, I don't just mean what I did superficially for many years. I realized it was superficial. I would send roots down, wrap them around a rock, so I felt that I was anchored, but I wasn't really. And when I discovered my roots going down into Mother Gaia and then hitting the core of the earth, all I can say is it felt, I called it locked and loaded. I've shared this before, but as my roots hit the core, I felt it close and click into place. And then literally this energy just shot up through my legs, up through my body, and I lit up. And since then, it allowed me to talk to the Fae and a few other frequencies that I hadn't been attuned to, because I was now fully 100% connected to Mother Gaia, which was one of my missions here when I came to Earth for just this lifetime. It's to be a beacon, so I have to be extremely grounded and very connected to Mother Gaia. So I wanted to just talk us through a grounding that I do every morning. I ground myself, I bubble protection myself and my home. And I thought that would be, it's a little bit different to what I do. I usually talk about the weather. It's turned cold again. I mean, I have the heating on, and it's still March, but the heating's on. I do have the window open. The snow is all but gone. We had some very odd weather. It was quite cold this morning here, like in the 20s. But it's nice and sunny out. So I'm hoping to get out and do a bit of walking. On Thursday, I had a spinal injection for the arthritis in my spine, and I'm hopeful that it's going to give me some relief. A couple of people have mentioned doing acupuncture, so I might do that. I can't take a lot of the medication for arthritis, so my body doesn't like it anymore, thank you, which is another, I'm not saying it's a side effect, it's another thing that happens as our vibration gets higher, that our body doesn't tolerate a lot of unnatural substances. I'm gluten and dairy free, almost 100% gluten and dairy free, or I am gluten free because I pay the price for that. I've had that allergy, which I didn't know, but I'd suspected for most of my life. I was brought up on meat, potatoes, and bread. And give me a French loaf and a stick of butter, and I would be very happy, and some nice jam. I can't do that anymore. But I have to find alternatives to that. So I thought, let's do a grounding. I'll pull some cards. I'm loving these Raise Your Vibration by Kyle Gray that I haven't fully used. So I'm actually posting them every day. And I don't really have to add much to them because they're always spot on for the day. So I think that's all I want to say. So some of you have contacted me this week. I do offer readings. I use, obviously, Dragon Energy. Right now I'm offering 30-minute Dragon guided reading. I can't promise they direct me to the Oracle deck. So sometimes it is a Dragon deck. Other times they say, no, go for this deck and this deck. But it's very Dragon guided. So I offer 30 minutes for $30. An hour is $60. Dragon Empowerment Reiki, and really, and Dragon Chakra Clearings. I combined Dragon Reiki and Dragon Chakra Clearing for a little bit longer. I need to go in my website and check. I'm going to be adding some things once I am officially SRT trained, that I can put my certificate up there. And I'm going to be doing some work on what I can offer in that area. So things are going to change this year for me. I'm very confident that as I step onto the right path, and I'm excited about it, and I'm excited about what I can offer to people with using my mediumship and understanding about what's happening to all of us here. So with that said, let's do a grounding, and then I'll pull a few cards, and then we'll end. Each morning and each night, certainly I've always done grounding, but I haven't done it twice a day, and that is a huge game changer for me. So I usually call in my guides, spirit guides, angels, dragons, whoever. If you know your spirit team, call them in. I visualize, I start with my feet, with the roots growing from the bottom of my feet. I get a tingling feeling when I know that connection's there. And then I just keep pushing them down. You can visualize it, you can see them, but you need to, sometimes I use my hands to push them down. Because I do this so frequently, it happens pretty quickly. I'm just going to talk you through this. While they're going down, and you might see them as tree trunks, you might see them as little wispy roots. They do change over time. For my son, it became 1 or 2 roots. Now he grows tree trunks. They go down, and visualize that the center of Mother Gaia, there is a dark core. It's almost like, it's very earthy, almost like a mulchy smell. And it can be as small as big as you want it to be. But visualize your roots going in there, all of them, like you pour them all in, let them crawl into the center, and it feels like you're inside a womb. There's this very warm feeling of you being held by Mother Gaia. And then once that you then visualize the energy, and however you see energy, you can see it as that dark amber coming out of the center, up all of your roots and lighting them up until they get to the soles of your feet. Once the soles of your feet, you can feel the warmth. It sort of sits there. And then just visualize it coming up your body. And this, I'm doing this slowly, but usually I do it really quickly. It comes all the way up, and I visualize it going out the top of my head. And then there's a connection to the sky, to the galactic. And then I bring in the brightest, whitest light that I can see or feel. I bring that right into the middle of me, into my heart. I also visualize my chakras. So you can either visualize them coming out this way. I just do it this way. I just visualize them in my hands and I root them front and back. I grow roots out of those and push them all the way down into Mother Gaia. So now you're connected with your chakras, your feet, and then I put my hands, I'll go off camera here, in the air, and I open my palms up and I feel roots growing out the palm of my hands and feel that connection. And I pull in that energy from the galactic field or whatever you feel connected to, and I bring that in and down into my heart. I then see it as sort of like an explosion out of my heart into my home. And I do that several times. So this way, this way, this way, so that I've blasted out this heart-centered energy into my home, spin it, or whatever you want, however you feel guided. I usually spin it around my home and see it going out with any dark energy that has entered during the night. I close, this is intention. I close, I don't even try and find them. I say any portals that have opened during the night, I close them. And then I place a dome of protection over and under my home. And then I check that that dome has no leaks. Sometimes I see the energy as a big pink bubble with lots of hearts, or whatever I'm feeling that day. I just bring in, shining the whitest, brightest light, because I always think of the saying, it's like, shine so bright, you burn their fucking eyes out. So bright. The brighter it is, it's not going to attract, it's going to deflect. So once your home feels like it's filled with light and the portals are closed and you're protected, I then send protection to my son. I put him in a bubble. I put my other son in a bubble. I put my cat in a bubble. I put my car in a bubble of protection. And I put myself in a bubble of protection. I've been fortunate to be given a Metatron's suit as protection, so I visualize that going on. I see it like a bodysuit that has lots of gold writing all over it. It was something that was gifted to us during a meditation a few months ago. And then I put on a suit of armor. Some days I need it more than others, but I visualize a suit of armor going on, and then wherever I feel I need protection. For me, it's throat, ears, third eye and crown, and then I put my visor down. This is all imagination. I then call in. I have 2 guardian dragons. I name them. I thank them. I ask them to be with me today. I also thank my spirit guides. Sometimes I will have a conversation. Other times, like today, I'm just going to say thank you for being there. Recognize that I have Pleiadian and Lyran guides. Thank you for being with me and for sharing with me anything that you need to bring to me, or however you want to word that. And once I also have got others that I thank, like my Elder Dragon Council, my Young Bloods. I thank some of my planets, my planet of origin, Saint Dymphany. I'll do another video on Saint Dymphany, who recently showed herself to me. She's the patron saint of mental illness. She likes to sit over here for some reason, and I like her on my left side, which is my female side. She likes to be over here, but I always bring her every morning with a very small dragon that she works with called Daphne, who's a pink dragon, and I put her over here. I thank her for keeping us safe. I thank her for her guidance, and she's going to be stepping in more as I go on this path of SLT, because she will protect the workers. She protects people that work in the mental health field, as well as people suffering from mental illness. So and then I will sort of close with a thank you, usually at my heart. If I have anything else, sometimes light language comes in, which has been coming in more for me. So sometimes some of the symbols will come in. However I feel guided. Actually, when I was going for my spinal injection, which isn't far away from me. I was driving and I'm like, oh, I haven't cleared the building, because one of the things I realise is if we're going into those buildings, they need to be cleared. And the dragon's like, we've got this. But as I was driving, my right hand was doing light language. I was sending it to the doctor, I was sending it to the injection, I was sending it to the nurse, I was sending it to everybody. And I was driving and my hand was doing this, and I'm like, this is really cool. People probably think, what is she doing? She's signing herself. I didn't think about that until I'm driving doing this. Oh, so it's a deaf person. Oh. So my dragons, I apologise, this, my dragons are sometimes inappropriate, and they said it's a deaf person signing their voices. Only the dragons would do that. They really are juvenile dragons. Oh. So yeah, I live in the world of dragons, and these younger dragons remind me of adolescent boys. But nonetheless, they're fast, they're thorough, they do their work, and Merlin is doing such a fabulous job. So that is grounding. And then I do the reverse, I do the same at night, but at night I have very clear instructions for my gatekeeper dragons and to anybody that's listening about not, because in our dream state we're much more vulnerable because we're obviously not awake, and that's when we can come under attack, or they can slip things in. So I have absolutely not going to accept anything, not going to sign anything, no contracts. If anybody wants me to have a gift or whatever, they can bring it to me in the morning, they can show it to me in the morning in my waking state, but I have absolutely not. The reason that I say that out loud is that nobody's going to bother with you if they think that it's more complicated, right? So make it as complicated, but because all they want is quick energy fix, and if they can come in and suck it, that's what they're going to do. Whereas if you say, no, that's not going to happen, there are dragons here or whatever, my guides aren't going to let this happen, they're going to move on. So that has worked for me. But I say it out loud every night. I started off in my head, and now I say it loud and very insistent. No, not going to happen. So that was what I want. That was what the dragons said. Get on and talk about your grounding and why it's important and why now. It's always important, but I can tell you, I've met lots of people that do energy work, that do body work, and they always say, oh, that's one thing I forget to do. So if we're not grounded, we can lift up, we need to be grounded so that we can bring the energy through us to do the work. If you do Reiki, you've got to pull it in, you've got to ground yourself so you can bring in that energy. And that's how I've always worked, is to bring energy into me so I can put it out. I have to sort of learn how to do my medium. To be a medium with SRT is different because my guides work with the other person's guides or higher self. And then we can bring other guides in as well. So slightly different, but it's practice, right? So let's see what Raise Your Vibration has to talk to us about. Oh, feeling the fear is a call for love. I think we already had this one this week, but nonetheless, it's always good. So this is just some messages for us for today and for this week. I trust the wisdom within. Oh, clear your karma. So a lot of these I shared this week. Clear your karma. So for a lot of people this year, karma, a lot of karma was taken care of last year. If you're doing shadow work, you probably do have some more. Oh, that I've already brought today. It's funny how sometimes all the cards that I've shuffled these. So clearly we needed to say, oh, here's a good one. Facing my shadow removes darkness from the world. So that's, when I talk about as we evolve and we heal, then we're healing others. If we're doing shadow work, then it helps remove the shadows of the world. I do like these. They're very simple. Healing myself heals my lineage. So that's just exactly what I said. All right. So they're asking me just to use a couple of my dragon cards. So this is my oracle deck, Ancient Intergalactic Guardians, Dragons of the Multiverse. This was a deck I put out 2 years ago. I self-published because that was the easiest for me to do at the time. They're not on Amazon because when you self-publish, I still have, I think, 5 or 6 decks left. Mailing outside of the USA is almost cost prohibitive. It's at least $20 for me to send this small 32 deck in a bag this size. It's over $20 out of the country. So if you're in the United States, I'm happy to ship them to you. I'm charging $35. I've done a couple of runs, and the dragons were like, okay, we're done with those now. So if you have one of my decks, it's limited. Oh, so here's Merlin. I have been working with Merlin all week. Listen. So Merlin, also just to remind you, Merlin the wizard is also a dragon. He's a shape-shifting dragon. He says sometimes he just likes to be a dragon. So in that, if you've got my deck, Merlin is right in there. These are my bling cards. That's what my friend said who did them. Our grandmother dragon. So this is a lot of bling on grandma. And I'll do one more. Ancient traveler dragon. You're moving in the right direction. So if you were doubting that you were moving in the right direction, you're moving in the right direction. So Merlin, as I just said, he is my connector, but this is about us listening, about listening to who we are and sitting. He's giving me the same message. Sit in quiet contemplation. It's very important to have periods of quietness from the outside world. I'm beginning to understand that because everything, actually it just reminds me that since my vibration has gone up significantly, I can't even tolerate TV. Not that I don't watch the news. I tried last night. I don't know how. I put on a movie and it irritated me. I mean, irritated me to the point was like, I can't watch this. I've put on like mindless talk shows and I'm like, oh, really? People yelling and screaming and like, no, don't want that either. I literally shut everything off. And I don't know what was going on last night. Maybe I'll find out a bit more today. I fell asleep pretty quickly. I woke up at 11:30 feeling like I'd had a whole night's sleep, only to find out it was 11:30. And then my brain decided to give me a menu of multiple things that I have to achieve, that I have to do, like work things, spiritual things. And I'm like, why now are you giving me a laundry list? I don't know. And it was running. It was like 2 or 3 things running. I tried a couple of talk shows. Sometimes just that mindless talk will put me to sleep. Nope, that didn't work. Eventually, I put on the sleep. It was a science thing about talking about the universe, but with somebody who's got that voice that puts you to sleep, which eventually put me to sleep. But I woke up 3 times. And I never woke up 3 times. So I go, I had a good night's sleep one night. The next night wasn't so bad. Last night was... And then, of course, when it was time to get up, I didn't want to get up. So that's why Merlin was telling me I have to listen. And the same for you. Quiet contemplation. We don't always need the noise. The grandmother dragon always steps forward to give us a hug, is what I'm hearing. Not more than that. Sometimes our good childhood memories. And the ancient traveller dragon, you're moving in the right direction. That again is, dragons travel through many universes. They've been they've been off our planet. They're in it, but they've also been. A lot of dragons are off planet. Certainly, the dragons that I have worked with all come from other planets, galaxies. They come down wormholes. They come down all sorts of things. They get here pretty quick, so they travel. But when they show up like this, it's to tell us that we are moving in the right direction. So I hope that has helped you. It was definitely channeled to me this morning that I needed to share some of the things I do so that people can understand. When I say grounding, I'm not just talking about just put some roots down. It's really, really important. So I'm going to end on that. I hope you have a good week, and I'll be back soon.